The fifth thunder. Animals shall be born with many strange deformities due to these strange bacteria that will develop as messengers of death. This shall come as a result of the poison from the rains. Animals shall be seen with many extra limbs, as well as missing limbs. This sounds familiar, like Chernobyl. From the time that this begins to be seen occurring throughout the world, we can expect within 1 year that these deformities will begin to appear in people. Many children will be born without brains or other organs or missing extra body parts, as is already occurring within the animals. The AP, or Associated Press, and numerous other news agencies have released documented stories about such occurrences. We must note that the fifth thunder is commencing before the fourth thunder has concluded. They're all happening simultaneously. This is the evidence of the quickening. During this time, there will appear strange animals and new plants of new forms, as well as the reemergence of old forms. Time itself will be dissolving. These deformities, mutations, and reappearances will first be seen in the insect world and the world of microorganisms. The winged people will begin to fall from the skies and lie dead upon the ground. Many animals will disappear forever from physical expression upon this plane. Their food supplies shall become contaminated, and they will become afflicted with strange sickness. They will lay themselves before mankind and perish upon the land in an attempt to let them feel the intensity of their situation. These things are already occurring, and yet mankind stands firm with a cold heart, unmoved by the plight of the earth and her creatures, unwilling to change, ignorant that the plight being witnessed is a mirror of times to come. Mankind remains lost in the illusion that the plight being witnessed is something that we can avoid. These here, the above, are the consequences of what we like to call cause and effect. They possess the ability to change their present course in the cycle of self-destruction, yet they take no action. They possess the ability to use means to grow food and produce medicines while protecting nature. Instead, they choose to continue using elements that create upheavals with their four-legged relations, their relations in the skies, Mother Earth, and her waters. Again, they remain indifferent and self-absorbed. Another sign of the fourth thunder will be that 4 great women who hold positions of high reverence will perish. This will serve as a warning that mankind must reunite with their ancient heritage and destiny. The feminine energies must be awakened and acknowledged if mankind is to continue with any hope of changing the outcome of these events. There will be a global reawakening to the true teachings of the Great Mother. 4 white buffalo calves have already been born. The 4th was born in June of 97. This was prophesied as one of the signs of the fourth thunder. Yet mankind, as is their nature, remains self-absorbed, enslaved to false consciousness, trapped in their webs of dogma. Their third eye is blind from atrophy. This exists even among the Native American people, many of whom refuse to return to their true spiritual path along the good red road. We now must understand the grandmothers are preparing to let loose their final fury upon this land. Ooh, I just got chills all over. This shall begin the seasons of emotional storms, the winds of the mind. The ways of the old patriarchy shall be shown their weaknesses, as solutions to the chaos occurring in the lives of millions. And it shall be beyond the scope of man. They will find themselves chained by their own fears and ignorance. As they destroyed the ancient schools and their knowledge, so did they seal their own fate. Untold millions lost their lives in the name of the Christos and the Church in Rome, who killed by decree from papal bulls, ranks of the Illuminati, all actions and their impact of frequencies upon the tapestry of creation shall return until their maker, and recorded for future history. With the awakening of the feminine, many of the grandmother spirits of old, the Kachinas, will begin to return with frequency. Buffalo Calf Woman, Patsanwi, herself will return and be seen by many women. These women will be called to remember their ancient ceremonies, knowledge that has been kept secret for untold thousands of years out of fear for harm to the children will come again into the stream of consciousness. For these are also the winds of truth. The true Christos places no gender above or below the other. True Christos is not an I, separate from the whole. Rather, it is we, in which individuality is maintained through acknowledgement of true feelings of our hearts. Through the balance of the male and the female within our beings, creation can occur. The frequency shifts are effortless if the human heart is open. With the advent of the winds of change, the suffering of the spirit is about to take a turn towards the sunlight. Spirit is refusing to play the game of bondage any longer. The illusions will begin to melt. First, in the invisible world of human consciousness itself. It will be perceived at first as if a madness is sweeping across the land. Those not living in their truth will choose from only two pathways: madness or surrender, or the gateway of fear. The latter pathway shall embrace fits of tyranny, and they shall be victimized by their own actions in the great hall of mirrors. Women shall begin to reclaim their power through the rebirth of ancient ceremonies. A flame shall be lit so bright that the songs of ancient Avalon shall be heard upon the winds in the times of the full moon. This light will burn so brightly as to allow mankind a new and yet final chance to reconnect to the creation energies and turn around their cycle of self-destruction. Of course, this will also be the cause of the tearing down of many personal relationships and many societies that exist within the circles of disharmony. In the process of reaching for truth, these little sects of people who congregate and hold on archaic concepts of spirituality will begin to fracture with greater and greater frequency. In many areas where women and child are unnaturally alone, they will find it impossible to remain. They will begin to roam as refugees upon the land, seeking shelter and compassion from those able to afford it. It will be a sadness that mankind has again manifested by their own creation through their acceptance of enslavement to dogma and the exercise of senseless judgments, born from the distortion of patriarchy. This fracturing, like the little devils, will begin within a very short period of time and spread to larger communities. The social and religious structures will then crumble in reflection of the intensity of the trembling of the mother's body. She is purging herself through fever, for the poison born of malevolent thought and deed is erupting like sores upon her body. That which is not in harmony with her will be removed, either by its own will or hers. This is the process of the purification. It is the way her body purifies itself, and it cannot be avoided. Through purification, there will only survive small groups of beings that will have developed their abilities to hear and resonate to the spirits that have come to assist them. A positive outcome of this will be that the full feminine energy will have the opportunity to cause the final shattering of two-dimensional consciousness. This limited consciousness has enslaved mankind for thousands of years. It will be the final opening through which mankind might hope to avoid, and the final thunders as the sword of Shiva is felt throughout the land. Oh.